Howdy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith, and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. So if you guys like that, or you just happen to love my beautiful face, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell to get notified every single time I post. I keep on saying that faster and faster, and I feel like now I'm inaudible. Like I can't pronunciate my words.
Child. Anyway, so
in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I think is very important. And recently I've been talking a lot about Black issues, which some people hate, but I don't care because this is my channel and I can talk about whatever I want to. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the stigma around Black people and mental health and how we need to acknowledge it, because I think it's important for us to know that like everyone has mental health issues. And why is it so stigmatized in the Black community? I'm going to tell you why, because I researched this video. And to start, I want to say that my sources, because yes, in the beginning of my videos, I'm now going to talk about what sources I'm using. So if you guys want to look this stuff up, you definitely can. The sources that I use were columbiapsychiatry.org, the nationalcouncil.org, and NAMI.org, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Those are the websites that I use for a lot of my information. So if they're wrong, don't drag me, drag them. So let's get into some little statistics about the proportions of Black people and mental illness and just the general vibe that we're getting. So NAMI states that approximately 1 in 5 adults suffer from mental illness every single year. And according to the US Department of Health and Human Services, states that adult Black/African American adults are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress than adult white people. However, despite this, Black people they don't say what they're feeling. They don't say what's going on in their mind because they just don't want to seek out treatment because of stigmas that are within our community. So about 1 in 3 Black or African American people actually that need it actually go to get help for said mental health issues. And African Americans are also less likely to receive consistent care, less frequently included in research groups, and they're more likely to use the emergency room or primary care for their mental health issues as opposed to going to see a psychiatrist or a therapist. And research also suggests that 20% of Black people are more likely to experience anxiety and depression.
Of the effort made by the white American to keep away, to not be threatened by Black people.
Now, the reason why this is an important topic to talk about is because Black people have a specific shared experience that I'm sure you could probably guess. I am Black, if you didn't know, 100%, not 100%, but I'm like pretty Black, like I'm blickety Black. I didn't need to say that. Okay, so Black people have shared experiences, unlike how a white person who may be Irish may experience life differently than a white person who is Italian, if that makes sense. But with Black people, across the board, we experience racism, discrimination, inequality, and that is shown to affect a person's mental health. In a way, as a Black person, being treated less than systematically can also attribute to having mental health issues. And the color of your skin can be traumatizing. And also with Black people, we similarly share family values, traditions, food, which is chef's kiss, and church, music, reliance on community because community was all that we had back then, and many, many more things. The Black community also, on top of racism, we also experience classism and health inequality. But mental health issues are also linked with poverty. So a Black person is more likely to, like when it comes, like I know Black people are only like 13% of the population, but we are very likely to experience poverty as opposed to a white person by proportion of our race. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Am I sounding crazy? I don't know.
The fact that I literally just said, am I sounding crazy, is honestly proof about how Black people are seriously invalidated from mental health. Like, oh my gosh.
The camera stopped recording, so if it looks different, I apologize. But Black people experience more economic insecurity. They experience a lot of violence and criminal injustice in general when it comes to the system. And this, on top of the mental health issues, it's not a vibe. So even though the Black community is about 13.9% now of the population, we are overrepresenting in high-risk populations when it comes to mental health issues. So for example, the Black community is 40% of the homeless population, 50% of the prison population, and 45% of children in the foster care system, which are all triggers when it comes to mental health disparities. And research has also shown that when you have an exposure to violence and mass incarceration and being in the foster care system, those are triggers and can cause the development of mental illness. African Americans are among the most religious ethnic group, race, whatever it's called. It says that 80% of Black people are affiliated with some organized religion. So when you're, I guess, you're more religious, you're less likely to then report and say that you're mentally ill because you know how religion is. In a study, it showed that 63% of African Americans believe that mental illness was just a sign of weakness, not a sign of like, you know, your brain not working and all that stuff. It was that you were just weak as a person and you need to go to God, and you needed to, like that meant that you didn't believe in God strong enough because you were having depression or anxiety or anything like that. And because of the stigma in the Black community, that's more than half. Then when you're surrounded by parents who then say, oh, mental health issues are just a sign of weakness, then you're less likely to go and seek help, which then makes the situation a whole lot worse. And with religion, and people tend to see, you know, their priests, their deacons for counseling when it comes to mental health, but then those counselors then will just tell you, oh, you need to pray for this, you need to repent for this, you need to do all this stuff. And they will then never receive a medical diagnosis for what is wrong with them. And then they just might think that they're just possessed, or they're being taken by the devil or whatever evil presence that your religion has. I don't know. But the institution that having like organized faith can have a huge impact on how you perceive mental health as a whole. However, in another sense, faith and spirituality has shown that it can help you if you're experiencing, you know, depression and being in, for instance, let's say that you're depressed and you go to church. Well, if you're surrounded by people who care about you, then you're more likely to feel less depressed because you're around people who care about you, and you're around support things. And, you know, when you're depressed, for example, isolation it makes the depression worse. So when you're not isolated, then clearly that would make it better. But just because you're going to church does not mean that it's just going to wipe away your depression, at least statistically, as what I'm reading on my screen. If you believe that, that's on you. You know, if it works for you, it works for you, but I'm just saying it doesn't work for everyone. And in the Black community, faith, like having faith and being religious, should not be the only option. Young Black children who are experiencing early signs of schizophrenia or having PTSD or anything like that, they should be able to seek professional help and not be scrutinized by their parents for just being weak, or, oh, you're just being soft, you know? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about discrimination when it comes to healthcare and how that also makes mental health a whole lot worse. So, African Americans, if you did not know, have been discriminated against in pretty much every single thing in the US you could possibly think of. And healthcare is one of those things. And even though the motto of a doctor is to serve and protect, that is a police officer. Police officers are to serve and protect. What is a doctor's motto? To help others? I don't know. Regardless, the doctor's main goal is to help other people, yet when it comes to Black people, there is biases that are there. One of my favorite ones, well, not favorite, but like the like craziest thing that people like genuinely believe to this day, like in 2020, is that Black people have thicker skin so they don't experience pain the same as white people do. That is a genuine thing that people thought because I guess it was like slave owners said that Black people had thicker skin, so they would whip them and lynch them or whatever and be like, oh, well, they don't feel it as bad as white people. And like they would justify that because if Black people have thicker skin, which is a lie. Because of the conscious or unconscious bias that healthcare professionals have, this can lead to misdiagnosis, inadequate treatment, and just a general mistrust then of mental health professionals. I know, at least for me, not for mental health, but for regular hospitals and regular health issues, I've had many issues when it comes to health. I'm fine though. It's kind of like if you were to go into a doctor and you said, hi, I broke my arm, and they looked at you and said, no, you didn't, when you did break your arm. Or, oh, you're just exaggerating, you didn't actually break your arm. Or, oh, it doesn't hurt that much. You don't need a cast because your arm doesn't hurt that much, when it's like it's your arm. Like it's your arm, like you know if it's hurting you or not. You know, it's stuff like, it's like little stuff like that. But because of like this distrust between doctors and African American people, they tend to then not like go seek treatment because like, oh, the doctor's just gonna say I'm crazy anyway, so the doctor isn't gonna treat me like the same, because systematically it does happen. Even the doctor, you know, is, you know, chilling. And also, I found this out, which was pretty interesting. Black people are more likely to say physical symptoms are their problems when like related to health problems. So like, for example, in this, it says, they may describe belly aches, heavy chest, and other stuff like that when we're talking about depression or anxiety. However, healthcare professional isn't going to think, oh, it's because of mental health, it's because of like a physical pain, like they have stomach ulcers or whatever. That's something that happens. They tend to misdiagnose Black people because they don't see Black people as having mental health issues, even though everyone has mental health. Well, not everyone, but like it doesn't, like mental health issues do not discriminate because of race or gender or any of that, or age, you know. Additionally, this is for Black men, you know, they're more likely to receive a misdiagnosis of schizophrenia when they're experiencing symptoms of PTSD or mood disorders. How? Literally how? Now I'm going to give you my personal opinions and why I think that we need to talk about this more. As a Black person, I know I talk about it so much, you're probably getting so sick of me saying that I'm Black, but I'm Black. And I think that it's important to acknowledge issues within the community. I think that it shouldn't be like if I were to talk about being on anxiety medication, and people are gonna be like, oh, you're crazy, when everyone has anxiety. Or even if you look at Kanye West, so Kanye West had an episode on Twitter and people were making fun of him, and it's even like a trend on TikTok now to make fake Kanye West tweets as if he said it because he was in a manic episode. They make fun of his mental health, whereas if another person was having mental health issues, they wouldn't be the same way, if that makes sense. But regardless, I think that it's very important for us to acknowledge these issues. I know that you're probably sick of me talking about race relations. It probably sucks, but this is like my reality. Like this is a Black experience, is an experience that like I have. Educate yourself, as I always say, because, you know, we like to look at facts in this household, and on this channel, we do our research. But regardless, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it because that really helps small channels like mine so much. It makes YouTube think that I'm worth something. So if you think that I'm worth something, subscribe down below. I want to get to 400 subscribers by my birthday, which is coming up in a few weeks. And yeah, so stay happy, stay healthy, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.